I make sure I don't,
Hey everyone, hey, this is me, your girl, what? Queen Juicy Shake. And I wanted to say first and foremost, thank you for coming on to this hour live, loud and in color. And I have an amazing special guest today. And first and foremost, this queen right here, let me tell you about this queen, right? This queen, she is from Maryland and she is a Stryer University queen. So, we're going to really get into the logistics of who she is, where she comes from, what she's doing with her life, how she views her book, and we're just going to take it from here. So, we're going to jump on and off questions. We're going to do some free flow. You're going to hear some messages and some uplifting words from her, some things that she may have experienced in her life before, prior, and after the book. And we just want to give a round of applause and we want to welcome Tiffany Lattimore. Tiffany!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for just being amazing as you are. You know divine.com, right?
Thank you. Likewise, Queen.
Thank you, boo. Thank you. Real recognize, real,
Real, that's real. Okay.
real recognize, real. So I'm going to
Black women are
read
dope.
your bio. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, I need a small. I need a small. I love that. Is that yours? Did you do that?
No, I got it offline. There's a whole line of like it's because it's God is dope, but then on top of
Yeah.
it is written it says Black women matter.
Yo, listen. Do you see this? I don't know if you can see what this say.
Yes. Those.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I have my stickies every single where, and just to always be a part of my journey as well. Because if I'm out here helping other people and showing up not helping myself, is we not winning. So I'm definitely please make sure I get that information for that shirt. I really love that shirt, and it looks really nice on you. Look at you looking all radiant and stuff. Oh my gosh. So we have some questions. We're going to do some free flow. This is her first time doing this. This is my second time doing this. So, we're just getting our feet wet and getting things that we need to get out here in the universe to be, uplifting and make sure we hold each other's crown up. Welcome, welcome. If you're coming on this live, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And again, this is the wonderful Queen, Queen Juicy Shake, and the other wonderful Queen, Tiffany from Maryland. So we're going to jump right into it. I am going to read the bio and I'm going to read some things for you guys so you can just understand this queen and who she is. So this queen attended Stryer University, and now these are from her words. So initially, out of convenience or so, Tiffany thought, but fate had it. It's in her hands. So if I do stumble of my words, excuse me. I'm letting you guys know I'm still new with this, but I'm okay with it. So giving that disclaimer. So she signed up for Strayer University, and she signed up in the wintertime for semester, January of 2013. I started taking classes twice a week. At night works best for her. Being in a traditional school setting your whole life, I need to be in class. Physically attending, my major is criminal justice with wait a minute, criminal justice?
Yes, with a concentration in forensic security.
Really?
Yes.
Right. So you know what? So I don't even want to read this. Tell me who you are. I want to really hear from
Absolutely.
you.
So, uh, what happened was I was reading this book by Bishop Jakes, and he said, "Let it go." And
Mm,
I started to like have like this epiphany, and I listened to some of the words that he said with his ministry. Sometimes, you don't charge the minister. I think we put too much credit into
okay.
them, but
Right.
and sometimes we miss the message. So basically, he was talking about how children are impressionable and how his son wanted to be like him. And
Mm,
so what he did was he talked about how he was in the mirror shaving one morning. So he put the cream on and lathered it all up, had his hot towel and his razor, and then his son was, doing the same thing. So the little boy reached for the straight razor. And he was like, well, that's not for you. But, children are defiant. So what ended up happening was later on, he took the lather, put it on his face, got the hot rag, took the razor, and then cut himself and bled profusely.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting because at that point, Bishop Jake says, isn't it funny, the very thing that's a blessing to you later on in life, that same thing given too soon is detrimental? So
Mm,
it dawned on me that I beat myself up for not going to school at 18, right? It was
right,
timing. It wasn't the time in my life, because I feel like we have this idea of how life is supposed to be in our heads, and
right,
then it doesn't necessarily play out that way,
right,
right?
right,
And then we fault ourselves, and then we get
right,
into this rut, into this routine. So I was like, no, it's now time at 30. And
right,
so that's
right.
when I initially went. And so it's just been this evolving journey, like this decade of my life, these 30s, because I'll be 39 in May, has just been
What?
interesting. So
30.
I
Now,
was
hold on. No, 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 Queen. I had to stop you. Did you just say you be how old?
39.
Wow. You are, oh my gosh. Like, I'm 39 now. Do you know how young we look? We
Good
look,
black don't crack.
yeah, right. Unless you want it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
But that's basically what put me on that path with school. And so then when I got in it, and then I started to find like a niche, I excelled. And so I started with criminal justice because law is interesting. I thought about law school and how it looks. And then when you get to actually start to take like legal classes, and you see how things play out, and you get to understand the language of the law and the letter of the law, and how laws are, and then my professors would do like mock trials, or give you a case, and
Right,
they'll and it has a verdict already, but the class is split up between the prosecution and defense. And then when you really understand the totality of it all,
right,
it's maddening, and you start to see the errors in it, and you
right,
start to realize that Lady Liberty isn't fair, and how racial injustice is played out and facilitated with this infrastructure,
right,
from policing the pipeline to prison to policing itself, and how it originated in
right,
slavery, as
right,
the slave.
right.
So it's like all of these things. And so then I started to get passionate about it. And I'm like, oh, do I have the emotional energy to go to law school? So I stopped at criminal justice, because it was like glass in my head. And, you start feeling everything and taking on everything. And yeah,
And it
I
just
was like,
becomes too much. It just becomes too much. When I was in community college, and I was doing sociology, and ever since a kid, for me, it's always been about the mind and why people do the things that they do. And when I say one of the courses we had to take up was criminal justice, and I'm like, what is this foolishness I'm reading? Like, what? Like the things that they do, to place us already, in this, it's just too much. It's just too much. And I know we can always talk about criminal justice and criminal minds, because it's really mind boggling. And that's the reason for me writing these books, to allow people that opportunity, to get out of that monkey barrel. And speaking of, just things that we go through in our lives, what you went through a tremendous tragedy in your life,
yes.
and I'm just going to jump right in. What happened?
So my wife died,
Okay,
and it was medical malpractice.
okay,
Um, and it's a life altering type of experience. And so it's actually kind of put me in a mind frame of another journey that I'm thinking about taking on, is actually becoming a counselor to help
right,
people navigate their emotions. I
right,
think it'd be a way of healing for myself, and then giving back, and doing something in her honor.
right,
Um, to be with someone and then they're gone. It's like you envision your future with them, and then when they're gone, it's like they take tomorrow with them. And
mm,
then I think about the gravity of coronavirus and how it has hit the
right,
world. And how you have 500,000 people that have passed,
yes,
and everybody that has passed has a family member associated with that.
right,
And then I think about my grief, and how it's a struggle, and it's daily, and it lives with you.
Right.
like chronic pain, and how I've been blessed to have network and support from her colleagues and coworkers at the agency that she worked for, to just friends and family. And I've even developed friends
Yeah,
in
that's
grief.
good. That's
And
good.
so I want to be that for someone, because right now we're in a space where the key factor in depression is isolation, and we are forced to isolate because of the pandemic. So
Right.
you're dealing with things internally
Right.
and externally that weigh equally, and it's compounded. So
Right.
let me be that support system as much as I can, lend myself emotionally to someone that's going through, because it's a
Right.
journey.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a journey. That's the reason for me even writing the book. And I didn't threw the book somewhere. I got so happy. So come on, let's get it together. So this is the book, I Am Greatness, The Wishing Room. And I okay, so before I go into this question for you, I want to first speak about why I even wrote this book in the first place, speaking about grief and speaking about healing. I wrote this book because I had experienced a traumatic time in my life where I was going to get married. Most people knew that I was going to get married, and everything was supposed to be great, wonderful, and didn't realize that the person that I was going to get married to was basically I want to say what they say, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And if that's the nice way I can put it. And, he damaged my home. He broke out my windows, still stalking me to this day. He stalked me on all my business pages. I have a 3-year protection order from him. He doesn't care. It's still, so I really needed to find peace in my home. I was living in the hood, it was just drugs all around me, the stalking, I almost lost my life through all of this situation. And it it really took a toll on me where I didn't want to live there anymore. I didn't want to be there anymore, And then once I realized that I had to get strong within myself, I had to make sure that I was on target, that I was increasing that self-love and that healing. And it was so depressed in my home, And I remember I went through each part of my rooms in my home. I took sage, and I just was like, I wish this room, love. I wish this room, greatness. I wish this room healing, and I opened up the closets. I opened up the back door. I opened up the garage. I opened up every part of my home, and I just was really speaking life into each room. And once I did that, I opened up all the windows, let all those bad spirits out and the negativity out. And then afterwards, it just was like, it was just like, okay, I can do this again. I can do this again. And people don't realize how much bad spirits are here, just as well as good spirits are here, and it just was so angry. It was just so much negativity. And I'm like, come on, God, like this gotta be more for me, So I wrote this book to help people in life go through when they go through those toxicities in their homes, and when they feel like, oh my God, I just can't get out of it. And for you just going through all the storms that you were going through, how did this book honestly give you any help at all? How did it, what was your experience, first of all, with this book?
Um, I did the same thing. I went around my home and burned sage. And, it's really about addressing healthy coping mechanisms,
Right, correct.
because we could all fall into drinking and substance abuse of any kind. And, to combat the depressed behavior that's associated with grief,
Right,
I have to remember, to speak life, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. But when you have, your partner of 7 years, die, and you hold in
mm,
their hand, it's like you want to check out,
right,
but we can't stay there. Life is for the living. And it's not to
right,
say that I figured it out. It's not to say that, I've healed myself. So what I did was, is like I moved,
okay,
and then in the new house, I went around and in every room, like you said, I opened up doors and windows, burnt that sage, and cleared out spirits. You know, they like to hang out in corners,
Yeah.
and this and you gotta get that out because it fuels the negativity and you trying to purge it. And then also too, I think what it did for me is teach me about my self talk. I think
Right.
very
Right.
important. Self talk
Right.
is essential because if you don't have positive thoughts, you become what you think. You know, so you thinketh, so it shall be.
Yeah.
And so that book kind of like, oh, okay. It, it made me think, well, how can I speak negativity out of a room and I'm still thinking negatively?
Mm, mm, mm. So out this whole book, right? What was your in each page that you went through? What was a word or what page stuck out for you the most?
I wish this room overcoming trauma.
Mm,
Um, I think inherently being a woman, being of color, and then my
right,
lifestyle, the totality of that intersects, and
right,
that in itself is trauma. And
yeah,
then we have the trauma of slavery that's been passed down. Then we have societal environmental trauma. I mean, it's just so much. And so when I say I constantly like speak that because you know you got so many factors of it
right,
that
right,
are passed down. You know, uh, family secrets and things that affect you that you had, you know, the sins of the father, so to
yes,
speak.
yes,
So it's like that one that has been the most profound out the book. It's not that the word itself is profound. It's just the idea of trauma. You got to deal
right,
with trauma.
right,
Being bred to be like, you know, extremely independent, I feel like is a form of trauma because that means that you're in a position where you feel like you can't accept help. You know, irregardless of
mm,
your religious background, we can use the Bible, for example. I mean, Jesus had 12 whole disciples, the son of God. So how can I sit up here and act like I can't have
right,
help? Or be
right,
receptive to it. Just you have to be in a place to be receptive to it. So
right,
it's a lot of things that I think about when I think about purging trauma,
right,
you know,
right,
in general.
right. Trauma, you know, trauma is a I believe trauma is just it's a funny thing, honestly. I think that it's a funny thing because just like in the awake of, you know, someone transcending out into the world and leaving us, you know, just like a marriage, someone's, you know, we're taking that person on. People don't realize that trauma, you know, is a changing event. You know, it's something that was detrimental that was changing to you, whether if it was a divorce, whether if it was a death, whether you know, you guys broke up, whether if you guys, you know, a job, you lost a job, you know, because it still goes through that 5 stages of grievance. You know, you still something that you always had, now you don't have no more, you know, and it's just like, yo, oh my gosh, like what happened? You know, and our bodies, it takes a long time for our bodies to even realize like, okay, my leg is no longer here, you know. Like I woke up with 2 legs and now I have one. Oh my gosh, you know. So you go through those grievance of, you know, let me figure out this trauma and let me see how I'm, you know, how I can heal.
Absolutely.
Speaking of healing, what are some of the healing things that you can share with someone that, you know, not only that you did, you know, that just in your profession, you know, and what you are doing and the things that have happened with you within your life. Share with us a little bit of what you actually do, you know, and how you can be a help to someone that has experienced what you experienced.
So there was a book that was gifted to me by my mother. It was called Healing After Loss. And I even, you know, researched the author, Martha Whitmore. And you can
Okay.
get it on Amazon for like $8. And I say that it's a phenomenal read because to a bereaved person, it speaks to a language and it articulates things that you
Right.
are aren't able to express. It's an
Right.
array of emotions that you feel. So when I got that book, it says it's daily reads, but I read it sometimes in depth. So every day there's a chapter. Like the first chapter is the introduction, and it just basically talks about how grief comes in waves, right?
Mm,
And I didn't think of it in that way. And then sometimes the waves can be so strong that it'll capsize you, but you got to figure out how to swim, how to tread water. Treading water would consist of like a healthy coping mechanism would be like journaling. You have to find whatever works for you. And there's no
Right.
fix, there's no right way to grieve. It's
Right.
just it's like movement, right? Because if you don't move, you'll drown. And so I started to like exercise. I break up with the gym every now and then. But seriously, exercise and movement helps you get that nervous, nauseous. It's a nauseating feeling that you feel. It's a sickness and
Right.
like in your soul that is difficult to explain. But if you just sit there in it, it just continues to fester.
Right.
Um, the anxiety that's associated with it. You're literally dealing with separation anxiety, and then you
Right.
can't sleep. So sleep is imperative. I got me a weighted blanket because the weighted blanket helped with the sleep. It mimics swaddling like what we do with children.
You said a waiting.
Weighted blanket, like the blanket
Oh,
weighs like about 15 pounds, and when you sleep with it, it calms you. It's soothing. It's comforting, like how you're swaddled like with your mother.
really? Where can you get that at? Because I would
Walmart.
love that. Walmart?
Walmart, yes.
Oh,
I got 15 pounds because that was enough for me because I don't want it any heavier because I don't want to feel restricted because you completely relax when you're asleep, you know.
okay.
Well, you should.
Right.
So sleep is imperative.
Yes.
You have to find things that occupy the mind because what happens is you start not to drink water. In those brief moments when you do feel happy or you do, that's when you eat and that's when you drink water. Absolutely. Because the mind is so idle. So you have to find things to fill it. And it's not to say fill it and keep yourself busy to distract yourself from emotions. No,
Right.
process your emotions, feel what you're feeling. But at the same time, don't just allow yourself to be idle. I believe I read a quote one time that speaks to the idleness of the mind. It says, it's easier to tame a tiger than it is to quiet the mind.
Mm.
And then also, who knew that silence could be so loud? Because you're
Mm.
used to this person filling this particular space and they're no longer there. And they took up the quiet moments in your life. Like, you know how you've been in somebody's company and they didn't have to say anything to you, didn't have to coddle them. It's just y'all were just there. You were present. You could have been in the other room watching TV, but they were there. And then
Yes.
to no longer have that, it's another kind of funny feeling that it's just it makes you ache. So to
Right.
combat that, you know, I journal. I like to draw, so I have adult coloring books that I entertain. And also we try to find things that are COVID friendly. I started picking up video games again, you know, just to, help that.
Right.
When my wife passed, the world was still normal. She passed
Right.
on November 7th, 2019. So I still was able to go out, be with friends, have touch, and be around people because people don't realize how imperative touch is, like hugs and that kind of human interaction.
Right. I'm going to stop you for a second because
Absolutely.
I definitely wanted to touch on that for a second. People do not realize how important, how imperative, how essential touch
Very.
is. I
Absolutely.
mean, going back to something you said prior, when you said even when the sense of independency, I can attest to that because it was a time when I'm like, I don't need no man, I don't need nobody. And then I had to realize, but wait a minute, Queen, yes, you do. Everything has a two. There's nothing that has a one. And if it has a one, and I said this in my previous live, even if we have one nose, we have two nostrils. So even when you lose, if you're blind or deaf or hard of hearing, you still gain in your other senses heighten. So you're never at a loss of something. And that is so imperative to really have that sense of touch because we are human. We are nothing but actual animals. And just like a dog, just like, a cat, they need that comfort. They need that touch. They need that companion. And when you don't have that, that is a sense of trauma. That is a grievance. That is a point in your life where, okay, you need to go pick up a book. Even if it's not my positive, pick up a
Yes.
book. Pick
Yes.
up a
An
you
audio
know
book
a
or something.
yes, an
Anything.
audio book, helpful tool, meditation in the shower, talk with someone, cry it out, write it out, color it out, cook it out, hug it out,
Therapy. Therapy.
right.
has
Right.
been a saving grace. I feel like there's a lot of preconceived negative connotations associated around therapy, and it's extremely healthy. I
Right.
almost wonder why I hadn't gone to therapy sooner, and you start to come to correlations in therapy that had nothing even to do with what you're there for.
Right.
I think
Right.
also too, you have to go in it with the idea that it's not a fix. And
Yes.
I say that because it's like, for example, death. It's an ongoing journey. To get through it, you have to go through it. Over
Mm.
time, the sharpness of it lessens, but it never goes anywhere. But
Yes.
it helps you develop things. It helps you
Right.
develop yourself and process your thoughts. So some people go in there thinking like, if I go to therapy, it's going to fix this problem. I'm going to go there. I'm going to find happiness as if it's a destination. I
Right.
mean, I think
Right.
we all would have bought a ticket, right?
Right. 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 Give me the first class ticket, sir.
Okay, business. Can I get the business? Right. So it's not. So
Like does the popcorn come included, you know? You
yeah.
know, so I definitely agree with that. Or I feel like sometimes people can also have that thought in their mind of, oh, you know, a shrink, you know, what's this, you know, or come in there and like, oh no, this not gonna help me. You know, therapy is not for everyone. And therapy is very healing. It's very healing, it's very helpful.
Absolutely.
And you know, now would you be in the mind frame and in the space in your life to actually, you know, be a grievance counselor every day?
Um, I think I would try it out just to see, because there is a part of you that you have to lend emotionally. And
Right.
so have the capacity not to absorb it and take
Right.
it on and make their
Right.
problems your problems and trigger your own. I can't say prematurely that I would be able to, because I would have to learn how this works for me,
Right.
because you do get full. You do get
Right.
emotionally full.
Right.
If I could measure it on a scale of 100%, I think grief and my experiences take about 75. So I don't have a lot that I can work with personally. And I'm talking about life, um, you know, a relationship, a new relationship, any of it. You know, it's just you got to think of all of that.
Right.
So I think I would just try it out maybe a couple of days out the week just to see where I am, to make sure I'm able to pour into people
Right.
and don't deplete myself.
Right. Right. Because that's very important to not internalize. I know when I first started life coaching, man, I just was all over the place with it. You know, I was internalizing it. And then years later, once I realized and started to understand, you know, my growth and understand why I went through all the storms that I went through and how I can be a blessing and help other people heal, I had to learn how to not only heal, but also be able to that student be able to become the teacher, and that teacher once remember that they were that student. And once I realized that, it was just like, okay, I can do this, you know. And it's still a everyday, you know, everyday thing. So I definitely would love to encourage you on that you know, you get that sense of place where you are able to really do this full time, because I believe that you are anointed for that. And I believe that, you know, the creator had placed this in your life, you know, because your wife passing, it I know it has every single day. It has been, you know, a tremendous journey for you, you know.
It is. It's uncharted
Right,
every day, every
right,
interaction. You look at
right,
life through a different lens,
right,
you
right,
know, and even, you know, now newly in a relationship, there's still uncharted emotion.
right.
You know, the delicacy of not comparing.
Yeah. Now, you know what?
Um,
Talk about that for a second. You know, what tools, you know, have you utilized, you know, of not being able to, you know, compare?
well,
Because I
first,
know that that's difficult.
oh, absolutely. First, you have to be with someone that's supportive, right?
Right,
And the woman that I'm seeing is extremely supportive when it comes to the grieving process,
right. That's
because
good.
the duality of being able to be the lover and the friend is a unique complexity,
Yes,
right? And so it's not that I don't feel like I can't speak on my grief, because that's
right.
what you don't want to do, is never be in a situation that you're not allowed to express yourself, because that's
Yes,
detrimental. You
yes,
got to be able to grieve, feel it whenever it comes, So in having that, I'm careful about what I say. Like holidays, anniversaries and stuff like that, I'll have my moments. But it's not like in conversation. I remember when I used to, you can't do that.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you still have to have some level of respect for the person that you're entertaining.
Right.
And then also too, you never want to compare, because I even said that, we tend to have a tendency to look at, the one that's departed in a rose tinted colored glass, as if the relationship was, perfect. We had a
Right.
beautiful love story,
Right.
right? But at the same time, it wasn't that it was without issues, right?
Right. Correct. Correct.
Okay. So that aside, I can't say in a new relationship, my first wife did this, or the first, you can't do stuff like that. You can't,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's just, you have to be able to separate. And so someone says, well, how do you still love the one that you've lost, and then in love with the one that you're with? And I said,
Mm.
I look at it like a duality, right? This is how it coexists. The best way I can explain it is, you know how some people will love mothers and their fathers. And even if you are a daddy's girl or a mama's girl, and you favor a particular parent, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean that the love isn't equal, and it doesn't mean that that love is in competition.
Right.
It's almost like
Right.
the heart partitioned,
Right.
right?
Right.
That you have the ability to be in love. Because I didn't even realize that I had the capacity to be in love. Because I was just like, you know what?
Mm.
Man makes plans and God laughs. Because you find your person, and then wow, just to have love escape your grasp, and you never even let go. And so, damn, I meet someone, and then I didn't realize that I had the capacity to even fall in love. So that's how
Right.
that works. And it's still a journey, and it's uncharted territory, but it works. It
Right.
works.
Right.
One
So let
thing
me
that
ask you this. What inspired you to reach out? Like, us corresponding with each other. What inspired
social
you to reach out? Okay.
social
Now, when you reached out on social media, what did you think? What was going through your mind when you reached out and you inquired about the book and things like that? What what was your thoughts before? Then what was your thoughts once you received the book? Like what happened?
Well, I reached out because on social media, and these different platforms and forums, you have an exchange. And so when I saw,
Right.
a lot of things that you were commenting on and different things you said, you gave off this very positive vibe.
Right.
And then I started to, learn more about you, and, from weight loss to just different things that you've
Right.
experienced and stuff like that. And I'm like, we all struggle,
Right.
with that, and then, I guess I call it, I'm not going to say that this is the case for you, but I know that I struggle with, I guess you can call it body dysmorphia. You have an image of how you're supposed to look, but then I feel like some of it is imparted on us from societal norms.
Right.
And this expectation that we're supposed to look a particular way, even though I'm not
Right.
a woman that's a feminine woman, it's still like you gotta have a standard, and then that plays with you. And so when in hearing your story, and listening to the positive vibes that you give, and your experiences, I'm just like, wow, okay. And then when I learned about the book, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm interested in. And so then I'm like, okay, Black woman, let me support her. And then I just so appreciative of what I had learned, and I wanted to know more. So when I got the book, I was just like, wow. So I was thoroughly impressed, and it, like I said, it's helped me with like my self talk and just different things, and it's just like a deeper connection inward.
Right. Right. Well, first I wanted to say I humbly thank you for that, because I've had so like numerous of people, they like, oh my gosh, you smile all the time, Queen, you don't have no problems. And I'm like, listen, like I can show you, a list of problems. However, it's just first and foremost, I'm so thankful I don't look like what I've been through, and
Ooh,
secondly,
amen.
because I'm
Amen.
trying to look like this until I'm 77,
What you've
100,
been through, what you're going through, what
and
may
what you're
come.
going to go through.
What may come. So I appreciate the positivity, and that's what's it. And it's not competition, because for whatever reason, Black women tend to have this inherent animosity towards one another. And
When
I'm
I
just
say
like,
I
I
don't
don't
get
like
it.
I'm just like, it's like the night sky. It's not one sky. A star that brightens the night is many, and everybody has their own dynamic, but collectively they shine. Why do we have
Yes.
to compete? Does the rose ask the lily, "What you doing?" You know, like,
Right.
but they
Right.
both are beautiful. You know what I mean? So it's like, and so when I got that vibe, I was just like, I want more of it. You know what I mean? Because you do have to surround yourself with positivity too. You know.
Right, right, right. And you know what? When I love the fact of what you said about the rose asked the lily, what you doing? You know, I think that's just so amazing because for me, it's not about competition. Listen, I don't care. It can be another artist out here, another, author, another entrepreneur. And I'm like, listen, let's support each other because at the end of the day, you have something that I need. I have something that you need. And together, I always say, one hand wash the other hand, both hands wash the face. And we can never get anywhere in life by, oh, who she thinks she is or who he think he is. And I'm like, it's not about that. I want you to look at these storms and wonder why I'm smiling, wonder why I'm dancing in my storms. Because listen, when I first did this book, it just I listen, I remember I was sitting on my couch. I was healing from, I had tubal ligation surgery, so I wouldn't have any more children. And I wanted to go, further on in my dream. And when I say, I was like, all right, I gotta heal. But how many weeks? All right, let me see. And once I started going through my home and I started speaking life into it, I said, you know what? I didn't realize that I was writing a book. I didn't know. I just was speaking how I felt because it was drowning me. It was so traumatic where, like I stated, I didn't want to stay in a home anymore. It just, I was always looking over my shoulder at one point, but not now, honey, because now, listen, I dare wood, okay? Because,
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's really imperative that I had to get that healing, and the part in the book, you know, when it goes through just speaking the life, and I wish this life room, I wish this room life, and I wish this room this, and I wish this room that. It
Absolutely.
really helped me out tremendously, and I am so thankful. Listen, when you hit me up and you was like, I got the book, and you screenshot it to me, it just did wonders because I'm like, oh my God, somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a woman of my word. I was interested in the book. Like, I mean, no shade. Like, I just, I don't, sometimes I can get it because people's intentions aren't
Right,
genuine.
right,
But yeah, I wanted it because, like I said, when I started reading the back and like the cover and the preface, I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting, and just it matched what you were speaking. It matched exactly what I thought of you,
right.
from seeing you in those, public spaces. So
I
yeah.
appreciate that. I
There
do.
is positivity to social media because a lot of the times it's painted in such a negative light, but it's still a form
Right.
to connect with others.
Right, right. You know what? It's funny that you say that because when I first started with Facebook or any social media, I didn't really know how to use it, honestly. I didn't know what I was using it for. I just knew I had all of these things that I had to give people. I didn't know what was going on. And something you said earlier, when and I had a previous ex tell me that one day was like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan, and that stuck with me because it's just like when we think we, over here, no, really, we supposed to be over here. And that was the whole reason for the book, just to really empty out my emotions and share with people like, listen, I'm hurting. I was hurting. I need someone else to realize, like, through your storms of you hurting, it's power in healing. um
Absolutely, it is.
Now, one of the questions I do want to ask you, because we did have a lot of questions to ask. However, I want to not shorten them, but merely just kind of like jump into it and make sure it's pertained to you and your experience of the book. So who did you experience this book with? Was it you? Was it any loving members, or just by yourself?
It was a solo experience,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, because
Okay. Now, have you ever did this experience before?
no,
No. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Now, with this experience, right, and if I'm not mistaken, I explained in a book, like, get your sage, this, that, and the third. Was it easy to read and really understand and take it, and go around your home, or was it something? Okay,
Absolutely, it was very easy. And it just kind of like made you think. It was like one of those little mini Buddha books. Like it
okay,
just you just like okay, because it just made you focus like inward and externally for me. So
right,
it wasn't difficult. You
okay.
just got to be open and receptive. You know.
Right, right. I agree, and that's what I put the book out here. Sometimes you go back and like, dang, I wish I could have, and I really wish I would have put that in the front of the book to say, this is an open experience. To be able to be open minded. However, it's for those who get it. For those who get it, will get it. And I will say that because if you really want to move outside of your way, and if you really want to get that healing, you will do it regardless. You will do it. How was your experience after everything? Like, did you feel any negative experience or anything? Because I didn't know you said you moved.
hmm So I did like a recharge. Like it felt like oftentimes we weren't running around here, spiritually depleting ourselves,
Right,
and I just felt like it was a, a way to recharge
right,
and replenish
right,
what I've depleted just from my own negative self-talk to negative interactions,
right,
external factors. So
right, right. Oh, I'm so excited. I am. I'm so happy for you because, just getting that power of healing is really a thing to be able to, so that you can be able to be fruitful in your relationship and, go forward, and whomever else you meet later on in life, friends, family, business partners, where you can be able, to be more receptive to
absolutely,
great energy. Now, do you
absolutely,
feel like that sometimes? Do you feel like sometimes we can be so bound and so held down with trauma and depression and anxiety that we can't even see our own light or see the light that's being centered into us?
absolutely. And you literally have said it all within the statement. People are so fixated on their trauma that they don't even know who they are outside of it, like it's their identity.
Right,
So when you
right,
now remove it, right, what else is left?
right, right, right.
What is it? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Because like I struggle with that,
Okay,
being in a new relationship. How do you just be like, oh, okay, I'm a widow, or I'm in a, you know what I mean, like what's your
right,
identity now, especially when someone else had been part of your other person, you know what I mean?
right,
So it's like those things I definitely struggle with. So, but you got to learn how to move past it and move through it, and you can't wear it on your sleeve. It
right,
is what it is. We can
right,
have a conversation. There's no denying what happened or what has happened. Any
right,
trauma. It doesn't have to be, for me, my story, my trauma didn't start with grief. There are
right,
other things that have happened. Just living this lifestyle, being
right,
a masculine woman,
right,
in a heterosexual society with
right,
with in some cases, not all, but you tolerate a patriarchal society where there's a lot of toxic masculinity. So
right,
that itself
right,
has brought trauma to me,
right,
you
right.
know. Mhm.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited that you got the book. I'm so excited that you
Yeah,
look at it. I'm so excited that, just to even see you smile, that is really amazing because, people don't realize it when in life, when we go through things, I mean, the best thing to do, honestly, is to smile. The smile, because it's like the sun, you go through all of these storms and things like that, but the storm only lasts for a little while. And after that rain and that storm and those tsunamis, here comes the sun. So being appreciative of something, of whatever you may be going through. So I'm just very thankful that, you and I had the opportunity to even exchange energies, and, thank you for being a part of my journey, because
thank
I am
you.
not nothing without you, and like I said, I woke up early in the morning and I seen you. I was like, oh my gosh, like, so I really truly appreciate that. We have one more question. And this question, I wanted to know, would you recommend this book for someone? Who would you recommend it to and why?
Um, right now, I think I would recommend it to anyone, even if it's something that you are unfamiliar with, because when you start talking about sage and crystals and energy, a lot of people are apprehensive,
Right,
for lack of knowledge or fear or whatever preferences.
right,
But I think I'm kind of like open-minded to it, and I feel like that right now, because there's so much going on, I think a lot of people would benefit from it. You know what I mean? There's just so much going on externally.
right.
People are worried about rent and bills, death, just
Life.
every, I can't even say it's for a particular demographic, particular race. I think everyone could benefit from it, actually.
Wow, I appreciate that. I'm so thankful I didn't go through this broadcast and cry because listen, I'm trying to learn how to get this makeup applied correctly. And it really means so much to me to be able to lend my emotions and lend my journey to people and share with people that, listen, you can get up out of this. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be something that once I'm out of this, nothing else will exist, and it's going to always be a process of healing every single day. When you heal from one thing, you will beginning to heal from another thing. And, again, I always, yeah, I'm just saying, I humbly thank you for that because you gave me the opportunity to shine, and just as well as giving yourself the opportunity to shine too, because it takes strength. It takes
Yes.
strength, like you said, to ask for help, and sometimes in life we don't know how to ask for help when all we need is just to ask for help and ask for help from the right person. So thank you so
Indeed,
much.
that's the key.
Hmm.
That is the key, because I'm telling you, salt look like sugar. You got to get it from the right person. Yeah.
Listen, so definitely it don't taste like it though,
I'm
boy.
telling you. Well, they got two different reactions, but that salt look like sugar.
It sure enough do. And it is. It's just, not saying, okay, anybody help me because
You don't want everybody's energy.
right. Because again, like in this book, your energy is very important. You must protect your energy. You must protect it at any means cost, at any given cost, because how valuable we are. And Queen, you are so valuable. I just
Thank
wanted
you. I
to tell
appreciate it.
you that. I really did wanted to tell you that. And you are, I want you to say this right now. I want you to say, I am expensive.
I am expensive.
Okay. I want you to say it again because I want you to mean it. Like, because you expensive. I know
I
you
am
expensive.
expensive.
All
Absolutely.
right. Yes. I want you to say, I am valuable.
I am valuable. We
I
are.
am amazing.
I am amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
That
Thank you
is
so
important.
much.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, do you have anything else that you would like to include? Where can people find you if they have been experiencing any grief or anything like that, and they want to share within you your story? And how can anyone get in contact with you?
That's interesting. That part I wasn't prepared for. So I am on social media. You can look me up on my name, Tiffany Lattimore, or Instagram. Oh, excuse me. The youngins say IG.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
at, at Tiffy Girl 82. So it's TIFFYGIRL 82. Um,
Awesome sauce. Awesome
so
sauce.
I guess parting words would be like, embracing the the journey of life. Sounds easier said than done, especially when the journey sucks.
Right.
I've definitely had my fair share of loss and pain and hurts, and they even question, what my purpose is. How do you move forward in life? Am I making a difference? But I feel like it's filled with ups and downs, and it's an experience that has to be lived. Like nobody's getting out of it alive. So, I love a little harder. I stop trying to sweat the small stuff. Now that is a work in progress. I try to let go, especially when there's pain, because sometimes there are things that happen in your life that you have to forgive without the benefit of an apology for your own emotional survival.
Yes.
So those are some of the thoughts, as I experience this chapter in my life, because it's a season. Remember, everything has a season.
Yes, it is.
Life is temporary. Your life has a season. It's we're getting ready to go into spring.
Mm-hmm.
Winter's over.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Winter is over. It's about to be something totally new. And then once the spring come and the spring gonna go, and then it's gonna be something else, and just to be able to be in that mindset of that life is always changing. Your emotions will always change, your energy will always change, healing will always heal, and just to be able to be in that mindset of always remembering that it will always happen. It will always be something. And like I stated earlier, once you heal from one thing, you're getting ready to heal from something else. And, that's the most important thing. And that's just the importance of the speaking life in each room, and being a part of your own here and now. And it sounds like, Queen, you are being a part of your here and now. And I definitely would love to encourage you all the time. You always know you have my number.
Yeah,
I am not far. You are whatever you may be going through, call me, and I'll call you,
absolutely.
and check up on you. Right. Because I feel like we also have to do better with that. No
Yes.
matter how busy we get, we still have to remember that we got to
To
check in with our strong people. We got to check in with our people. We
okay.
have to check. Yes, we have to check in with them,
Tired of
because
being strong all day. Let me yeah, yes.
listen,
That
listen,
the understatement. I mean, that is the
listen,
understatement. But yeah.
listen. You know what I feel like being strong is? You know how you take that bra off and it's like, or now
Never
take
leave.
that mask off.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, just being strong. And the strong knows that the strong once was weak. And the strong know that the weak will always be weak, but still have it strong. But the difference between the strong and the weak is the strong know that this is not going to always be. And that's the difference. Knowing that, okay, this is what I'm feeling now, but this isn't what it's going to always be. And just look at you. You're so radiant and stuff.
Trying to be like you, girl.
Listen, it took a long time for me to get here in this journey, and that's why I just want my people well off. That's it. I don't care what color, I don't care what you've been through, what you're going
I'm
through.
voting for everybody black though.
I mean, yes, I'm listen, I'm there for that too, however, I include all people,
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not
and
implying
yeah,
that
no, I
those are
know.
all not
But
conversations.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why I include all people, honestly, is
We should.
because there may be a black person that'll say, oh, the Cambodians, they don't know what it feel like to go through slavery. And I'm like, but they had World War I and II, but they had the Korean War, but they had these, they get just as much, pressured just as much as we do,
Absolutely.
whatever,
I feel like we're all God's people, and then it's a
right,
coat of many colors.
right,
Everybody ain't gonna walk like you, talk like you, think like you, but not benefit. You know what I mean?
right.
So I think it's important that we are all inclusive.
Right, right. So yeah, so I support black businesses,
Oh yeah,
However, I support all businesses. I support all people that are doing great things that, have been through whatever they've been through in life, because I will never forget that you put your pants leg on just like I do.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
blink just like I do. You hurt just like I do. You have cried just like I've cried. You love just like so to be able to know that you've hurt, you've loved, you liked, you lost, you've needed, you wanted, so for me there's never will ever be a separation, because that's where our world is the Muslims go on this side, the Jews go on this side, the Christians go on this side, the short goes on this side, the tall go. Nah, how about we just all come together and realize that we all have been through some stuff, and we've all been through, the worst of the worst, and it's just now time to get out of that mind frame of hurt people, and heal.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. Hurt people hurt people. But I think also a good point to that is that hurt people also help, because it took me to understand this level of grief to even want to pursue counseling.
Right.
It's not that I hadn't experienced loss, but the magnitude of this loss is different,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
I do feel like that help, we do help as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you wouldn't know what to look for if you didn't
Right.
experience it
True.
to an extent.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. True. I
And it's not
definitely
that
agree
you
with
can't
you.
have compassion and empathy and step outside of yourself and see, but, sometimes some of the best testimonies have been,
Mm.
you know, because you've walked the walk and talked the talk,
Right.
and have lived it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So can you imagine me as a counselor, and then, this, we get into this dialogue, and then they ask me, oh yeah, all right, and then I share what I've shared. Just like, for example, President Joe Biden. It's pointless about your divide, but I
Right.
listened to when the man said that he lost his wife, his child, and then his son Bo
Mm.
to that tumor. You know what I'm saying? So when I
Right.
hear this man speak from that place of, hey, I'm acknowledging this 500,000 people that have died.
Right. Right.
He's not disingenuous, and I'm not saying that you can't speak on that if you've not experienced it. It's just
Right.
to
It comes out
speak
in a
from
different. It
personal
comes
experience. It
right.
just
It comes
means
out in a
so much
different light.
more.
Right, right, right. It comes out in a different light, to be able to experience that, like a lot of times you have a lot of doctors or pediatricians that have never had children, and not to say that they're not great pediatricians. However, I also would love to go into a pediatrician office and know that, Dr. So and so has 7 kids, and
Absolutely.
she or he knows, what I'm actually experiencing to be like, listen, blah blah blah, and be able to actually give me more than a textbook view, and give me also not only a professional view, but also a personal view, and say, listen, X, Y, and Z, this is how I do it. It may not be
Absolutely.
something that you want to do, but I know this is what I've done. My daughter or son had colic, and this is what I was able to do, and it helped me through the night. And then I'm like, you know what, I never even thought about that. Let me try, and see. And oh my gosh, doctor, it was really great. It worked. The baby doesn't cry anymore. So sometimes it can just be that great fix of that, having that experience. And like I said, for you, I think that you really truly should manifest more on where the creator has you when it comes to the grievance, because you've suffered a great loss, and a great gain at the same sense. And I really pray that you go ahead through with that, and ask the creator, like, hey, where do you need me at? What is my purpose of me experiencing all that I experienced, and experienced it so deeply? Now how can I be a tool, not only for myself but for someone else, that your story is not for just you. Your story is for someone else that is experiencing what you experience. And right now someone's experienced that right this moment.
Absolutely.
Someone, whomever, God forbid, someone right now is experiencing their loved one passing and don't know what to do, how to do it, and how to get out. And you are that person that they would say, hey, well, I know it's not going to be easy. However, these are the things that I have done. And, to be able to recognize that emotion and be a part of their journey, and to be able to be that human touch to say, it's going to be okay. It's not okay, but it will get easier over time,
Yes.
and, these are the things that I can do. So thank you for all you do. I really wanted to say that. Thank you for all you do. And, again, I know you've experienced so many, great and traumatic things in your life. And, I want you to make sure you hold on to that book, okay? And, hold on, look. Cha-ching! Hold on to that book, and for anyone that's watching, if you would love to purchase I Am Greatness, The Wishing Room, it is on Amazon.com, along with the other books that I do have available, Her Self Collections, 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as Love Your Journey, the new book. So, guys, check it out. Tell your friends and your family, share this video, share what this queen has to say, because she she has valuable information for someone that is experiencing loss and experiencing, those grievance points. So if you are looking for, someone to just share your thoughts with and look at the positive affirmations that she always has on her page, flowing through constantly, where could they find you again, Tiffany?
At Tiffany Girl 82 on IG, and then just my first and last name on Facebook.
Awesome sauce. And I'm going to also put it in the link as well. So that is our time today. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for sticking around. If you haven't seen this video yet and you will see it, thank you so much for, supporting my journey and supporting Miss Queen journey as well, and supporting your own. Because if you
Absolutely.
can't support your own, you won't be able to support no one else. So make sure you get this healing book, this amazing book, I Am Greatness, The Wishing Room, and that's on Amazon.com. And thank you for joining me. Mwah! Queen Juicy Shake. Ashe. Thank you, Queen, so much. Peace, love,
Thank
and
you.
always. Peace, peace.